Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike and Diana, host of the 1NELife podcast, believe that most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike and Diana want you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities, and creates an equal playing field for all. On the 1NELife podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 1NELife podcast. I am Mike M.I.C. Reed, and as always, I got my co-host Diana Gotti from the AV Wellbeing Coalition,
right.
Doing it the Gotti way.
What up, what up, what up?
Oh, you got energy today.
Hey, go Dodgers. Are you kidding
right?
me? They won opening day. Yes.
And we got our special co-host with us today, Jacqueline Hernandez from NARUP, president from NARUP.
Yes.
How you doing, AV chapter?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
Always, yes. Yeah. This is your second time because this is your first time in our new studio.
Yes, it's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you, by the way. And we are growing. We're going to grow out of this one.
Yeah.
Today is special because it's the end of Women History Month. So
Yes.
Jackie is definitely in the net with us today. And it's the beginning of our season 3.
Mm-hmm. A power hitter for sure.
I'm definitely excited. Oh, and you know what? I just realized the other day when I was going through my notes and stuff. Guess what next month is?
April.
Our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, it is.
Yes. I didn't realize until I was
Time
looking at
flies
my
by when you're
notes and
having fun.
calendar. Like next month, I will be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of this podcast.
Hey, now we have to brainstorm on that.
Wow. No, I know. It's like, wow. And you know, a lot of people, they start podcasts and they don't make it past like the 8th episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a lot of work. But when you have passion for something and you have consistency, like I've been having fun.
Yeah.
Just like meeting everybody, and like I'm so grateful that you're here again with us because our first conversation was incredible and pretty short.
It was deep. It was. Deep.
No, it was.
Yeah.
So before we get into that conversation, let's what's going on with the AV Wellbeing Coalition?
Well, the deadline is tomorrow.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, and I think the
for the
applications
second cohort?
for the second cohort for certification in applied positive psychology. So applications will be closed tomorrow. However, they are requesting for more men to get involved, in this program. And again, you can reach Ms. Nardi Lopez at the city of Palmdale. And what's actually exciting is that the first cohort will actually be able to participate in this new cohort. And we're going to kind of be there guiding and supporting the next leaders. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
I actually get to be a part of it this time.
Yeah.
I think. I still ain't got my email yet.
I think you're in.
Okay.
I think you're in. So that's really exciting stuff. But
yes. And congratulations, by the way, on your first cohort of the leadership program.
Yes.
Shout out to the AV, not the AV, but the Ventura Foundation.
Yes.
George and Vicky, they did an amazing job. They gave all 10 kids a $500 scholarship.
Yeah.
And you guys have a second one coming up.
Isn't that exciting? That starts April 19th. I mean, the kids did not expect that. And when Adriel stepped up and kind of gave his speech, it was so just moving. Not only that, but to kind of get back that the kids kind of retain this information. Right. They really do need to know that they are leaders and that not everything's going to always work out. There has to be errors in order to grow. Right. And for him to kind of express all of that.
I was really impressed with him. Like he got up and he did this whole speech and he did an incredible job. And I actually went up to him afterwards and shook his hand. I was like, wow, man, that was a great speech.
Yeah, and he's part of ASB, and he actually is a swimmer, and he would go to his swim meets and then still show up. Even, some kids would be like, no, I just literally
tired.
Swam. Yeah, I'm just going to kick back and stay home. But no, he made it his priority to be there. So he's looking to do an externship with the engineer. So if you guys do know of any engineers, I would love to hook him up with that. He's a great kid. There's a really bright future for him, and it was nice. It was a privilege to have my kids in there. And then not only that, but after I stepped away, I said, you know what? I'm showing them that we should be giving back to our community, contribute, get involved, especially where you live, where you work. You know, it's the investment into our future. So.
And it was great to
stuff.
see Mike Garcia's office gave them all certificates of recognition, and who else? Juan
Blanco.
Blanco was there giving out certificates as well. So
Yeah.
the city of Palmdale is really involved in that. So it's great.
Yeah, you should have seen their faces when they see the seal. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, seeing that, and some kids are in junior high and some of them are juniors in high school. So it's like, what's next, you know?
That's
kind
awesome.
of giving them that excitement. So
Yes, so I was excited.
It was good stuff.
Thank you for inviting me, though.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
That's right.
So the next one is when?
It starts April 19th.
Okay.
So the great thing is, since we've kind of been putting it out and the kids are, of course, excited about the scholarship, we have a lot of kids that have applied. Unfortunately, we only have, you know, for this next workshop, 10 spots.
Oh, so it's already filled?
Yes and no. We're going to see what we can do if, you know, people are willing to donate so we can give more scholarships to these kids. But I think it was kind of broken down for only 10 at a time because we are giving each student $500. You know, but if we have a room for like 30 of them, it might get a little, you know, a little pricey. So, but, you know, you never know. We might get donations. People might want to participate and give these kids what they want. And it's a good thing that they are applying, that they are wanting to get involved. Because some kids just want to stay home and video games.
That's the great thing about it
social
is
media.
the kids are actually like wanting to do these programs.
Yeah.
And then we have one that we're going to start up, and I'm hoping a couple of weeks.
Yes.
A workshop.
Yeah, we're going to be
So-
teaching kids to do podcasts.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Isn't that
Yeah.
dope?
So we're getting big funding from that as well. So
I'm so
I'm excited about that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's get on with our conversation with Ms. Jacqueline Hernandez. How have you been since the last time we talked?
I've been good, you know, trying to stay busy. I feel like I don't even know how we're in April already, or
I
going to
know.
be in April tomorrow. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what happened. I mean, the year's just flying by, and you kind of have to take a step back and really realize or focus on what really matters, you know, and spending time with family. And so that's what I'm trying to currently do right now.
And you know, by you saying that, it brought me back to, and I actually want to talk to you about this because you did a post a few weeks ago that really was, I think, a post that needed to be said. And he was talking about rumors and people out there just starting rumors and how you can't pay attention to it. Like what made you do that?
I think I felt like I needed to say something just because you get to the point where, you know, you want to not listen and not feed into it, but then it starts to really affect you, right?
It does.
And so as much as you want to pray about it and let God handle it, you do also have to be like, you know what? I need to take a step back. I don't want to hear it. Please don't call me on it. It's just negative, and I don't want to give any energy into it, you know?
No, and you know, when you did that post, I was actually going through something very similar where people was calling me and I was hearing all these rumors and all this stuff, right? And so when I read that, I was like, man, you know what? I know this stuff. And it's like, we know all this stuff, but sometimes we need that reminder. And I had to take a step back, and I started telling people, like, no, I don't hear it. Like, I'm not responsible for anybody else.
Right. Yep.
I'm only responsible for myself. So I don't care what people think. Like, I care about people. Obviously, everybody knows that. But I don't. If you bring in that negative energy, you're not going to put me into your negative space.
Right.
You know how they say negative, what is it, misery loves company?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I actually went through that with my last marriage, and I got caught into that. Like, she pulled me into her negative space. And, you know, I had to learn not to let people pull me into her space. No matter how much I want to help them, it's like, I'm here for you, but you got to come into my space where it's nice and peaceful. Like, I'm not going into no one else's negative space no more.
Yeah.
So
I think that's when boundaries come into place.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to exercise that. And that's why we say if it's not a hell yes, it has to be a hell no. Even when they're calling, be like, ooh, that's a strong no. You know what I mean? Okay, that's what I would say. You know, that's a hard pass. I mean, growing up here in the Antelope Valley, it's kind of hard because you either went to the same, elementary, junior high, and high school. And unfortunately, some of the people that still live here still live with that same mindset. It's like, at what point in life do you grow up? You know, like, you really have to step outside of that. And it's really sad that, you know, it's like crabs in a bucket. You know, they want to keep you down and try to climb up on each other instead of, like, you know, we can really work together. We can build, you know, so much.
Right.
And I did grow up here, and well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but I kind of came back, and I really do step back and just kind of observe and just watch and wait from a distance.
Yeah.
And I really create that for myself, but boundaries has been the strongest thing. I stay with my family. My family's dope.
No, it is, but it's, go ahead.
I think sometimes too, it's having that difficult conversation. People do not want to have those difficult conversations
Right.
and say, you know what, I cannot be there. I can no longer listen to this, because you don't want to make the other person feel bad. But at the
Right.
same time, you're only hurting yourself, right? So I think it's having those difficult conversations that people don't want to have that are necessary.
No, and you know what? And like, I'm in a new relationship now, and one of the first conversations I had with her is I told her, I said, look, no matter what issues we go through, because we all going to go through it, right? We all have our ups and downs. I said, we're going to have this conversation, even if it's not healthy, but it's going to be a healthy conversation. But if it's uncomfortable, I said, we still have to have the conversation. Like, I think I said that, we talked about this on the last show. You can have your minute if you need your minute. Like, if you need your space, go take 5 minutes, go take a half a day if you want. But at some point, we're going to come back to the table and have this conversation, no matter how uncomfortable it is, because we got to get through it. We can't just hold on to it, you know. And that's what I think a lot of people, they get afraid of that. But the people don't realize that you can have a healthy conversation. It doesn't have to be like this unhealthy conversation where it's just arguing and all that.
Right.
Like, it can be a healthy conversation. Even though it is still uncomfortable, it can still be healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the flip side. I'm like, you know what? If it's not good for me, then there's no point of even having that conversation, because you have to project the behavior you want in return, and if you know that that person is just really not going to understand that, setting those boundaries, let me tell you, they speak louder than words,
Right.
And understand, you know what? There's no room for this. I'm going to just not. And if you're then understanding the behavior that I'm shifting on you, then now you start thinking about your behavior.
But you know what? I feel like a lot of people they're oblivious. They do not realize that this is happening. You know, they don't understand all of a sudden why this changed behavior. I wonder. No, they don't. I don't think that they put two and two together. So I think having that conversation, establishing those boundaries, being uncomfortable while you're even having the conversation with that individual. And then if the situation continues, well, then at that point, like you said, you know what, I got to remove myself.
Well, and that's, I kind of approach it in a way where most people just want to be heard, listened to. Like, they just want to be heard, right? So, and most people just want to vent. I've always said this, I'll give you like 10, 15 minutes. Go ahead and vent. But at some point, we're going to have a healthy conversation. And if you're not ready for that conversation, I'm going to let you vent. But then I'm going to say, you know what? Let's talk tomorrow. Because today is not the day. Let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah. I got other things right now. I hear somebody calling me.
Another like committed.
It's hilarious because we actually were having that conversation with my husband. He goes, someone asked, like, how do you tell someone to, be quiet when they just don't get it? And I go, you tell them, hey, I hear Chata calling you. And I think we all know how that ends, right? Yeah. And we were cracking up driving down. We're all like, dude, some people really just don't get it.
Well, they don't. And that's why I said, like, you give them that little space to, okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity, right? To let's have a conversation. But if you're not getting it in this small window that I'm giving you, then it's like, okay, you know what? You're not ready.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at you, because some people just not ready at the time. So, and everybody moves at their own pace. So let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have no problem telling people that. Like, hey, let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into your negative space.
I'm more on the flip side. Like, you know what? I've got too far to build my sanity, because I was there. I used to do that, and it was so draining for me. And I mean, I've been through counseling for that, and my therapist told me, you don't have to give an explanation to anybody. You really, truly don't. Because at that point, you're really just kind of draining yourself, and kind of going in circles. If it's not for you, then move on. And that's going to be the most powerful thing in life that you really do. Yeah. And I think as humans, sometimes we stay in those toxic relationships, friendships, because of, I should just hear, I gotta, and they're draining.
Make excuses.
Hell yeah, you make excuses. And at some point, it's like, you know what? No.
But it also, like, for me, like, I put people in certain boxes, so to speak, right? Like, I know certain people just not gonna get it, right? So it's like I just keep them over there. I'm not with those people. I'm like you, like all right, I'm not gonna feed into it, right? I just let it go. But people that I care about, that I know that maybe just going through something, like I said, I'll give them that opportunity.
Of course. But I think it comes to a point that there's only so much that you can. And I think the people that you do keep around you, they're not going to do that. They really don't. There's a reason why you keep them around. Right. You know, it's my daughter asked me like, oh, Mom, like something about my friends. And I was like, I don't think I have that many. I was like, maybe it's like 5.
But that is good.
But that's good.
If
oh,
you
yeah.
have 5 good friends that have your back and are there no matter what. You can call at 2 a.m. and be like, hey, I'm going through this, and they're going to hear you out, or are there for your kids. Those are your friends.
Oh, yeah. All of them are actually over 20 years of friendship. Honestly, every single one of them that I'm thinking about, they're over 20 years of friendships. And I can't really sit here and say I've had drama or I had this or none of that. Honestly, I can honestly say that I don't experience that. It's always those jogging relationships that they call them, you know, like those short terms where I'm just like, yeah.
And, you know, I learned that sometimes people are only supposed to be in your life for a season.
That's right.
Forever, you know? So you have to be able to just accept that, because sometimes we want to hold on, right? Yeah. And we're like, oh, but why? They were my friend. And it's like, it's okay. You know what? We were there for X amount of time. I learned what I needed to learn, and now we got to keep it pushing.
No, but nothing lasts forever. None of this stuff in this room lasts forever. Everything has an expiration date, right? And I learned that again with my last marriage. I learned that, you know what? As much as I wanted her in my life forever, and when we first met, it was like, this is going to be forever. I had to accept, like, you know what? I'm grateful for the time that we had. Right. Period.
Yeah. I think I heard that from Mark Cuban. It's the owner of the Mavericks, right? The Dallas Mavericks.
You got that from me.
No, he didn't.
I said that a lot.
No, but he says that's what has actually kept him like humbled and grounded, is that he has a very small circle of friends that he's had before his success. You know, and then I got that from him. It's jogger friendships, you know, that kind of business, come and go. Hey, how are you doing? Kind of deal. And that's what's kept him just grounded and very successful, is those really tight, like, friendships from childhood, you know, and I value that. I'm actually very thankful that I can say that I do have that. And I do encourage people, you know, to kind of build on that. You don't have to have a large following and a large network, especially in the life that we live right now, with social media, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. I have to be like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Know, before God came into my life, I used to be a people pleaser. You know, and I wanted everybody to like me, and, you know, I didn't want anybody to hate me or feel some type of way, and I would try to fix whatever the situation was. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Like, I know who I am. God knows who I am. And that's all that really matters.
All right. That part.
100%. I'm the same way. I think I learned maybe 3-4 years ago when I started doing my mindset training. Like, and that's where I developed, like, I'm not responsible for you. Right. Even in relationships. Like, and that's why I had that conversation with my new girlfriend. Like, I'm not responsible for your happiness. And
it's
you know
funny you say that. I say that to my husband all the time. I'm like, it's not my responsibility to make you happy. You have to make yourself happy, you know? And just like for me, it's not his responsibility to make me happy. Exactly. I have to be happy on the inside first, and then we make each other happy.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah.
And we walk down, you know, in relationships, you know, you're supposed to, with your husband or your spouse or whoever it may be, you walk this path. Like, you stay on your path, he stays on his path. And what you do is you can add value to each other. You can add happiness to each other. But that's all I can do. And I tell her that. Like, even when I tell her, I don't say, hey, babe, thanks for making me happy today, or you make me happy. I don't say you make me happy. I'm getting out of that mindset. It's thanks for adding happiness today to my life. That's what I tell her all the time. Thanks for adding this value. Because that's all we're doing for each other, and what we're supposed to be doing for each other. Right. Like, I'm not responsible for your happiness. So you didn't make me happy today. You added happiness, but you didn't make me happy. Right. It's a difference. I think once we learn that, a lot of relationships could be healed.
For sure.
Yeah, well, not only that, but to be mindful to keep someone happy is also key too. You know, because there's like little nugs or jolts of joy, and it really is going to pull someone out of those uncertainties. You know, like to think like, you know, do they really even love me? they really don't care, and I might be happy, but if that other person kind of doesn't contribute to, it's the little things,
Right.
Sometimes we might think we have to do the big things. No, it's the little nugs, the little jolts of joy that really kind of pull you out of that as well.
I think the older we get, we understand it. Like, even like I used to say a minute ago, like I used to be that guy when I was in Hollywood. Like, I bought everything. I used to pay for, when we went out, I paid for everybody's bill because I just wanted everybody to like me and love me, whatever. And I was like,
Hell no, you
I
got
don't,
money.
I don't care about none of this stuff. I don't.
You want to share a plate? No.
Yeah, like, I don't care. I mean, I still treat people every now and then. Like I was at Zelda's the other night. And I treated a couple of friends, so I know they're having a rough time, and they was at karaoke, and I bought them a couple of drinks. But I mean, I don't pay for everybody's bill like I used to.
Yeah.
Or even like flaunt to like think I have it all anymore. Like, I don't do any of that.
I think you're going to be in a circle now that everybody could take turns.
Right.
I mean, maybe in your 20s,
Yeah. So today I got this. Next time you got the next round.
Right.
You got the next round. Yeah.
Right. I think that's how it should be.
And no, it should be. And
But some people don't grow out of that, though. Be like, man, I'm going to go with
you
this.
got this?
right.
Hell nah. Look like you touched it first.
Nah, and I pay attention to people when we be out, like with a group of people, like who be ordering what. Because I know when the bill comes, it's like, don't say you got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I got a phone call real quick.
Yeah,
I'm going to step outside.
I always make sure my bill is always separate. Like, I don't even like sit with people no more. I mean, I go join people, but when I'm ordering, I try to do it at the bar or something. Like, don't put my bill with their bill.
Okay. I just don't know why people would even do that, though.
What?
Just feel entitled to that, instead of coming from you and being, like, let me help you out, or even offer. And if it comes from that other person to be like, no, I got it. It'd be like, okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. But why have that, mindset to, like, they're going to take care of it, or they got me? It's like, what makes you feel entitled to my money? Have you worked hard for it?
You know what? A lot of people are confused about what we have. They think we have so much more.
I don't know.
Because the way, like, people think I'm like really rich, and I'm like, I'm not. But because of my confidence, because of what I do, they be like, oh no, Mike got it. And it's like, no, I don't got it. Like, stop counting my money. And that's what people do. They count your money about how you dress, how you look, how the car you drive, how you live. They really be counting your money.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do
they
that.
don't know the kind of bills you have. And
Yeah, right.
responsibilities you got to take care of.
Yeah.
And how
Exactly.
hard you've been working to have this money.
Yeah, so.
That's facts. Especially being on here. Oh, you on a podcast? Be like, man, this is community work.
No, it's funny. And I think I can say, because I'm actually going through a divorce right now. And my wife's attorney really thinks like I have all this money. And it's like, I don't. Like, I used to.
Yeah.
Like, when I was, before the pandemic, when I was in film and making all these films. Yeah, I did. And that's where my wife, like my ex-wife, she's not an ex yet, but she is. But anyway, soon to be. She is telling her attorney, because I had a conversation with her attorney the other day, because I'm trying to just settle that, like make this really simple, but she's trying to make it hard and difficult. And it's like, I don't have all this money. I don't know where you guys are getting this from. Like, I used to, yeah, but that shit is long gone. Like, since
but
the
even
pandemic,
if you did, that's your.
I know, but still, it's like, it's horrible. It is. It really is. It's sad the way what's going on right now with this whole legal battle, but.
Oh no!
I can't. I mean, I don't mind talking about it because I ain't got nothing. So
that's what 50 Cent did. Remember?
Yeah,
He's like, I'm broke when he
broke,
was
for
going
real.
through all that. Yeah.
Like, don't let the lights and all this stuff like fool you.
For you, yeah. It's the perception that people have.
No, it is, and I'm starting next month would be my year. Like, it literally takes like 2-3 years to build up a business. So like, give me a couple of years, I'll be there. I'll be back there. But right now, I'm in the rebuilding process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm literally don't have what I used to. But don't assume that I do, and then try to take my little pennies. No. Anyways, let's talk about. So last time you said, Jackie, we told you big on community over competition.
Yeah. So, I think the word community gets thrown out so easily, right? And everybody wants to be involved, and they want to help the community, and they want to make a difference and make an impact. And when it comes down to it, what are you really doing to make a difference in your community? Are you actually helping a nonprofit organization? Are you out there feeding the homeless? Are you volunteering at a child's school? I mean, what are you really doing to help your community? A pastor once said, he's like, when you die, will you make a difference? Like, will your community miss you? And that kind of hit. And I was like, will they? I mean, have I done enough, right? What does my book look like? What is it going to look like at the end? So for me, I want to touch as many lives as I can and impact people in a positive way, to where even if I only helped one person, that they can say, you know what, Jackie helped me through this, or she changed my life because of this, or whatever the case may be, then I'm good, you know?
Yeah. No, and that's one thing that I talked about with Darlene Trevino and Janet. And Janet was on here the other day, not the other day, but a couple of weeks ago. We talked about that. It's like, how do we pivot people's mind to get rid of the egos and like really help? Because we, like you said, in every committee meeting I've been in, like I was in one the other day, and all these meetings I go to, everybody's always talking about unity. Like, but where's the action? Right. And for me, words without action is
meaningless.
Meaningless, right? It has no value whatsoever.
Right.
Like, where's the action?
Right.
And the one thing, and I had this deep conversation with Darlene and Janet, separate, and they both said the same thing, and I kind of agree with them, and it's kind of what my mindset is right now. We have to lead by example.
Right.
And it goes back to what you're saying, like, ignore all the BS stuff, ignore all the egos and all this rumors and stuff, but you just have to lead by example. And hopefully at some point, the switch turns on and people hit that corner.
Yeah.
And kind of join you. And then one thing Janet was saying is like, I'm not going to come down to your level. You got to come up to me. Because she's vibrating on a higher frequency right now. This is what her words. And she said, I'm not going to come down to your frequency. You got to come up to me. And I believe in that.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, too, you have to also lead and guide and not be afraid to extend that hand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And be able to pull up.
I think a good leader first needs to be an intelligent follower, Mm-hmm. And I think that you have to do sometimes things that other people are like, oh no, that's beneath me. I don't think anything is beneath me.
Right.
I'm going to do whatever I got to do. And a lot of people see me, and like you said, the perception, right? They see the clothes and the designer bags and the vacations, and they think, oh, she's always had it like that. But people don't know what it was like when I was growing up. I was raised by a single mom, and she was working in the fields. And so I remember we were on food stamps, and I remember being at the grocery store, and I was embarrassed because back then they didn't have the little card,
They had the booklets.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember being embarrassed at that time, and I was a teenager already, and I couldn't understand why my mom had to do that. But she did what she had to raise me on her own. And so now I look at a lot of the things that people aren't willing to do for other people because they think, oh no, I can't do that. That's beneath me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Nothing's beneath me.
Right.
That's right.
I'm going to do whatever I have to do. If I need to take the shirt off my back to give it to you, then that's what it'll be.
And that's one of the things that I admire about you. And I think I've spoken to you about it before is, I've always seen you out in the community. Like at every event I was at, you was right there. And it doesn't seem like you're always saying, and these are the good things that you say yes to. You're always lending a hand. You're always helping. And it shows. And I actually really do admire that about you.
Thank you.
Because you put in the work, and you put in the effort, and the action.
There was a time where my husband and me would kind of get into these little conflicts because I was always out, whether it was at Grace Resource or with the Sheriff's Department or doing something, right? And most of the time when, they have these community events, it's an all-day thing.
Right.
And he'd be like, why are you always gone? Like, you're always out there and you're helping people. I get it, but, like, what about our family? And I'm like, dude, you don't understand when I give back and all I have to see is this child's face and their eyes light up or, feeding someone that's homeless, that you can't put a price on that, And it finally, until I started taking him with me, he was like, okay, I understand now, For his birthday, we actually didn't celebrate anything. We didn't do anything. We didn't go out anywhere. We didn't have dinner. We didn't do anything. We actually ended up going to Oxnard to go help with the toy drive. And he was the happiest. You should have seen his face. It was like, we got there at, I don't know, maybe noon. And then it was like close to 5 o'clock. We still hadn't eaten or anything. And I'm like, I'm kind of hungry, you know? And he was like, but I'm still helping. And he was helping this older couple, and he was carrying the boxes for them. And I'm like, I'm going to let him have it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is dope.
That's priceless. But I think that was the key. It was a we thing, you know, because when you're out, you're right. There are a family, but this is your life partner.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that we had to learn that as well with my husband. It's always like, come with me, or let's do this together, or, you know, just telling him all about it and giving him the option like, hey, you can also be a part of this, you know, and doing it together. And even your daughter, you know, that's paving the way and showing them the structure to do it with your partner. It is a partnership. And sometimes in a marriage, I think that's where it gets lost. It's like, well, I'm going to go do this because I'm doing this. And then your spouse would be like, well, what about me?
Right.
You know, what am I doing? I can also help. I can also give, back. And then your kids are seeing this like, man, mom and dad are, doing this. And that's now sparking that in them. Like, man, when I have the chance, like, I want to get out there. I want to do this too, so that's dope that you guys were able to experience that together. Yeah. And how rewarding was that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just his face. I was just looking at him like, I have pictures like from afar, and he just looks so happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. It is. When I asked Mike to come for the awards, I told him, now you understand why I love doing this, why I love giving back, to the community, because it's so priceless. Yeah. It really is. Just contribute, or not only that, but creating that that bridge between people. We're social creatures. We should be engaging. We should be helping each other out. We should be giving them that example. Like, I'm not any better. I might be in a different financial situation than you, but it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to kind of roll up my sleeves and, start working with you. Let's build. You can also have this. This might be your situation right now, but it doesn't have to be that situation tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. One thing I learned, I actually learned this from Kobe, because I think there is a fine line that a lot of people don't want to walk. It's like you do want to take care of your family, right? But it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. I mean, you know this, and it's so much you have to do. Like you always have to be at events. You always have to like be out in the field, just doing networking. And most spouses don't understand that because they don't see your vision, because it's not their vision, it's your vision, right? And even when I first got into entertainment, my first wife, she used to ask me, because I used to be out till 4 or 5 in the morning. She's like, what are you doing that late? Like, where you at? Like, and finally I said, you need to come with me. And so for 2 years, I took her to the studio. Like, this is when I was in music, and we used to be sitting in the studio for hours till 3, 4 in the morning, just listening to tracks over tracks. And she was like, finally, she was like, you know what? Go. I'm good. She's like, I get it now. Like, I'm good. She was like, she's like, it's way too much. She was like, there's no way I can do it. She was like, she couldn't keep up. Yeah. But she understood, and she understood why I had to be at the events, the parties, because it was networking. So she finally saw that. So she was super good. And I think that's why, I'm still good friends with her to today, and because she understands why I'm always out, why I'm always doing things. But at the end of the day, I'm still taking care of my family. And that's how I take care of my family.
Yeah,
because I'm passionate about what I do. It's not like I'm out there just playing around, just partying, drinking. Like, no, there's a method to the madness while I'm out there. People don't understand that.
So true. No, that's good. Well, I can't wait till this season, or I guess the holiday season, because that's when you start giving back. Once Halloween kind of kicks in,
Thanksgiving, food drives.
Yes, I can't wait.
Christmas, it's going to be a good year.
It is. I'm hoping to do more. I'm trying to really team up with your buddy. Narup. Not Narup. Oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me. What's her name?
Trevino?
No. At Keller Williams.
Oh. Janet? No.
No, Janet's not at Keller Williams, is she?
Vicky?
She is.
Oh, she is.
Or Becky? No.
No. Sigala. Belen.
Oh, Belen.
Belen.
Oh, okay.
My God. Sorry, Belen. Because last year I helped her because her sister works with the special needs.
Yes, she does.
And you guys know my son is special needs, and I've been working with them since I was 12 years old. Just special needs kids, and so last year I helped them do a toy drive over at the park in Lancaster somewhere. But I want to do more with her and her sister. Like
That's
they
funny.
do amazing things.
They're both my
Seed,
neighbors.
what is it called? Seed to Grow?
Seed to Grow.
Seed to Grow, yeah. They do amazing thing. And especially the kids, they always have a special heart, with me. And I love helping them.
Yeah.
That's why I still, I coach. I don't know if I told you this on the last show. That I coached the AYSO soccer, special needs soccer
No,
team
I
in
didn't know that.
Valencia. Yeah. So every year, I've been doing that for like 9 years.
Nice.
So every Saturday morning, I'm out there playing with them. And that's my joy.
I love that.
Like, I love going out there running with them and just playing with them. And when it's like, and I hated it like during COVID, like obviously we had to shut down. And a lot of the kids, that's the only thing they have because they're stuck in the house, bed rest or whatever. So when they get to go to these games, it's like the only time they get to come out. So when it's raining or, we can't play, it hurts my heart because I'm like, oh, wow. Like, because they get sad. Like, the parents tell us, like, oh, Zach or so-and-so, they got, Zach, they couldn't come out and play. It's like, wow.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'm excited about that.
Me too. No, I am. So Jackie, again, like I said, we talked about community over competition. What is it? What is your focus for this year? Is it the same?
As far as for
Like community, like I know, like say you're the president of NARA, right? So, like, what's new with that? Like, what is your main goal with that?
well, this is my second term, so
Right.
I took it.
Congratulations,
on.
by the way.
Thank you. I took it on a second year. It's a lot of work, coming from a chapter where we had 0 members to negative $20,000 in our account. I mean, it was pretty bad, and so trying to once again reestablish it all over again, bring in new directors, change the narrative, change the perception that people had also on the organization has been hard, but we're trying to remain consistent. For us, it's really important to bring value in education.
Right.
So that's what we're focusing on. We don't want to be known as, they have the greatest parties, which don't get me wrong, that's all great and all, but that's not where it's at. We can go and party and do things on our own, but this organization, as long as I'm still, president, I want to make sure that we bring as much value and education to our entire community.
Mm-hmm. And that is then the real estate business, correct?
Yes.
Like to get people more educated on buying homes.
Yes.
Why is it such a misconception? Like I just had this conversation with like a couple yesterday, and everybody just thinks it's so hard to buy a home.
Well, I think, again, they're talking to the wrong people.
Right.
So you're not talking to the professional, and you're listening to your friend, your cousin, your aunt, your brother, your sister. You're listening to everybody else but the professional. So you're listening to them. You're listening to social media. You're listening to the news. And it's like, guys, the information is free. All you have to do is pick up the phone. Now we're all on social media, send us a DM and ask us the questions. Talk to a lender before you automatically assume that you can't purchase a home.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, because, I've been dabbling in and out of real estate for maybe 15, 20 years now, right? And I'm actually just now getting my license. But I always tell people, and I don't want to bash any banks, but I always tell people to go with a private lender. Because a private lender, in my experience, because when I bought both my homes, has always helped. Like, and I've gotten several people homes going through my private lender, where a private lender would tell you, you know what, do A, B, and C, and you're guaranteed a loan.
That's
so
true.
Where you go into like a big
bank.
bank, they're gonna look at your credit, they're gonna look at your history, blah blah. I'm like, oh no, you don't qualify, send you on your way. Like they won't help you like a private lender will.
It's so true.
And I think that's a lot of people are deterred from that.
I think always get 3 different opinions before you make that decision. There's different programs, different private lenders, national banks. They all offer different types of programs, but you have to see what is best for you. So, like for instance, maybe a loan that works for you might not work for her, right? So, and every client is different. Everyone's income is different. Everyone's credit is different. So, just because you heard your friend say, oh, I didn't have to put anything down, doesn't mean that might be the same specific scenario for you.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, people listen to everybody's stories. Like my first home was like easy to buy. My second one that I'm in now, it was a nightmare. But that doesn't mean your experience is going to be a nightmare. like, yeah, I went through a nightmare because of some other situations, but it doesn't mean like you're going to go through that.
Yeah.
And I think people get afraid of that. And that's why they go, oh my God, yeah, so long.
I mean, I think for us, before we purchased our first home, I didn't want the responsibility. I really didn't want that at all, because my mom really pushed for us to get our home. We were in Los Angeles for a long time. I mean, we were pretty much paying rent, what could have been a mortgage,
right?
You know, for a very long time. And once we finally said, okay, we're going to do it, I really just got us to a position where we could purchase it. And it was the easiest thing. And it was through a private lender with Julissa at Loan Depot. And we did actually meet with a few banks, and they were very negative about it. And it was, I guess, a stereotype behind the credit and behind that. They really didn't give us a lot of hope. And when it happened, and I remember this, asking Arvin, like, is this it? Like, we're signing? Like, is there something else? Is somebody else gonna come? You know, we still got to talk to a few people. What's up? He's all, no, this is it. Like, I give you your keys. And I just couldn't believe it, because it was really that simple. It was like, we put the offer, and like 3 weeks later we're closing, and boom, you know, it was that simple, that easy. And our credit was horrible when we first started. And I really just started calling, you know, fixing my credit, and I did it by myself. And what I tell people, it's like, if you really set your mind to it, you really can achieve it. You know, there are all these people that there's programs that they'll fix your credit, but why can't you do it yourself? It's really that easy. Do you want the house or not?
Right.
You know, you really have to ask yourself, like you're saying, like, there's so much information out there. Like, there's so much knowledge. Are you willing to put in the work? Right. Because once you have that house, now I remember there was a little hiccup right when we got the house. And I remember calling Arvin, like, hey man, like, something happened with the water. He goes, well, you got to fix it. And I said, what you mean? Like, there's no manager. Like, I can't call somebody. And it was a reality check. Like, dang, this is the real deal, you know? And this is all you. But honestly, it's been the best thing that we've done. I love coming home and not having to worry about anyone outside. I remember when we were depositing the money in the bank, so the loan could get it, the gentleman tells me, you know, that's your safe haven. People don't realize that you can really do whatever you like at your home. You know, if you want to have everything gold, do everything gold. If you want to have everything satin or whatever may be the case, that's your safe haven. When you close that door and you lock it, that's where no one can reach you. You know, that's when you can really disconnect. Let your hair down. And I'm sure your room is your way, right? You close that door and this is me. I don't care if my two walls match, but this is who I am. And sometimes people don't understand that. In an apartment, you have to ask, you know, to even have a party, have people over, or, you know, it's funny because the kids are screaming at my mother-in-law. It's like, hey, you guys, someone's going to call the cops. It's like, ooh, this is our house. But just that privilege, that feeling, like, I honestly encourage people, look into it. Mm-hmm. You know, it might be scary at first, but once you kind of get in the flow of it and really take the first step, it's the best thing, the best choice that you can really do.
But see, that's you had the right people. Yeah. They guided you, and they had the right answers for you.
Well, no, we went through a lot of agents. That doesn't. Let me tell you, the person that recommended Arvin was Julissa. Julissa goes, I know you've been through a lot of people. I know it hasn't been what you wanted. He goes, but I know this guy, and he's really great, and I think he would be a perfect match for you guys. And I said, all right, Julissa. Like, you know, it's funny because at times we would have like long conversations. And she really kind of got to know my story. We had moved away from Los Angeles. We were actually supposed to leave to Texas. I was in my mom's mobile home and with my whole family.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know, I had been away.
I didn't know this story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had been away 16 years from my mom's house. I almost ran away. And then now I'm having to be stuck. And then the snow happened, and then the roof started leaking and water was falling on my son's bed. And I was like, I remember calling Julissa and I was like, we need to fix this. I need my home. I need to get out of here, you know? And she was like, you really just have to fix your credit. And the money was there, but the credit wasn't. And I just fought literally for what we have now. And that's why when I come to my home, I have a beautiful home.
She does have a beautiful home.
You know, and everything worked out so like amazing. When you talk about God, you know, I really would sometimes just pray to him and just tell him, like, you know where my heart is. When we walked into those doors, there was biblical scriptures on the wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The
So
person.
you're like, this is it.
This was it, you know. And actually the reason why Business Women of God is so special to me is Nancy and Julissa were both there, and it was her aunt that was selling the house. And before Julissa even knew that I had found that house and sent it to Arvin, it kind of popped up on her feed, and she goes, I really think this would be a great home for them, you know? And then when she saw that was a house that we kind of put a bid for, she goes, I knew it. Like, that was the right home for her. But the way everything actually worked out was amazing. We actually would drive by at night and just be like, one day it's going to be ours. And then one day it was really dark, and then the light just turned on and they happened to come out. And then I told my husband, oh my God, do you think they saw us? How would they even know it's us, you know? But I really was just claiming it. And I said, God, you know that we really, really need this. Like, it really, really humbled me. You know, it really humbled me because we were living our best life in Los Angeles, you know, partying out every day. We always had something to do with the kids. We were always out. That's why Mike's like, man, you guys are always out. We really were always out. We always had something to do. Our kids played sports. But, you know, kind of having our home humbled us. Yeah. And to really take it in and build our family. So I really encourage people, you know, to look into it. You know, there are, you know, organizations and people are willing to give you that knowledge to guide you. Yeah.
No, I mean, absolutely. And, you know, buying a house is just so much better. Like the couple I was talking to yesterday, they paid $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom.
Oh, yeah. I don't pay that much.
It's insane.
Oh, and our interest rate when we closed, it was, ridiculously low. The way everything happened with that house was just God's work, when I tell you.
I know.
But I don't think people really understand that. They think, okay, well, I'm making another payment. When you actually start adding all of that up, all of the years that you've been running, all of that just went to the trash.
So true.
Seriously.
100%. That's what I tell people. You're just throwing money away. You're burning it.
Yeah.
Yep. You're paying for somebody else's, you know, investment, you know, long-term wealth, because that's what it is.
Look, I always tell people, and I think a lot of times people, they always say, they waiting for the perfect home, right? And I say, get that out your mind. Go buy a house. I don't care if it's in Cal City. Keep it for 2 to 3 years. You're going to have equity. Right. Take that money, then go buy the house you want.
Yeah, your home is your bank.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, stop looking for that dream home. Just go buy a house somewhere. I don't care where it is. And keep it for a couple of years. You're going to have equity. Take that money, then go buy what you want.
Right. Well, it's like Monopoly, right?
Yeah. Just build the equity. I mean, it's
I don't like to play Monopoly.
What?
Because I'm so competitive. I get so angry. I want to own everything. You know, it's a problem, guys. It's a problem.
Yeah, no, it's true.
She's like, yeah, I know.
I don't show her shaking her head.
Well, my husband's the only child. He doesn't like to lose.
Hashtag same.
Or you're only child too? Oh my God.
When I tell people that, they're like, oh, that makes sense now.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we call it the only child syndrome. Yeah, singletons.
I am the baby of 7, and I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
Like, my girlfriend is always looking at me. Marcy's always looking at me. It's not a competition, Mike. Like she's always, I'm like, no, it is.
Yeah. But that, you probably have great work ethic.
Yes, but sometimes it's bad too. Just because of that, I'm ridiculously obsessed with everything. So, guys, it's bad when I say to the point where if I'm working on a flyer, for instance, for one of our events, right? I'll work on it for like 5-6 hours only because I'm just moving a font over a little centimeter, and then I'm moving it back, and then I'm changing it, and then moving. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I have a problem.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I know exactly what you're talking about because my husband is a lot like that.
I used to be like that.
Yeah, but I think that's where your spouse balances you.
He actually tells me, Jackie, you're still working on that? And I'm like, yes. And then he's like, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares.
No, so I'm be honest with you, because design is my background. So for a lot of my TV shows and everything, I did all the artwork for all the shows and everything. And just because I'm anal with it, I actually understand that, because I actually had this argument with one of my executives one day. I was like, from the naked public eye, they're not going to notice. I'm going to notice.
Right.
When I look at TV, I see all the mistakes all the time. I see everything. But average person is not going to see that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said it doesn't matter.
But that's your work ethic. That's your attention to detail. Honestly. And I love that about my husband. It's funny because the kids will go back and be like, oh, dad be like, well, you didn't have siblings. No one could tell him no.
Yeah, but you spent, like I said, like 4 or 5 hours changing the font.
I know.
Like you could have been
Doing something.
4.5 hours
Exactly.
into doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I've definitely been better at it. I'm no longer doing that. I'm delegating now. And that took a lot for me to take a step back and be like, handle it. And then I'm like, but then I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm letting it go. Because it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I think you and I are the same in that aspect, because growing up in production, I had an executive that taught me everything from the bottom up, right? So now and that's why I do everything myself now. It's like I can easily go hire people to edit this video, to do it sounds and all that. But it's like what I have in my head, and I used to have interns that worked for me, but what I have in my head, I can't explain it to you.
Right.
So I can't give it to you and say, hey, do this, because I can't even explain to you what I have in my head. And that's my problem. Like I have a vision in my head, but there's no way I can explain it to you. And then you're going to do it some way, and I'm not going to like it. So I'm going to spend all these hours trying to correct you when I could have just did it myself.
Yeah.
But look.
But then see, if you were to teach someone else, right? Because if we do teach other people to do things the way we want, we can replicate ourselves.
Right.
And now we have more time to do other things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where I'm trying to go into, just because I can't do all of it, and then I get burnt out, and then I'm sitting there, and now I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore, because I'm running around going crazy trying to do everything, when I could just pick up the phone and be like, hey, can you do this? And yes, it might take 10 minutes to explain what I need you to do, then versus me doing it myself. But you know what? Now you handle it, and you handle this, and you handle this, and you handle this. So,
Right.
But didn't you have to go through that to learn that?
for sure.
There it is. Honestly,
But from a creative standpoint, like for me, like business wise, I can tell somebody, go do this, go make a contract, go whatever, like write this story. But from a creative point of view, I can't explain to you, or I can't even teach that. Like even on our workshop that we about to do, like I'm going to teach them basics of everything, but I can't teach them how to be creative.
Right, the depths of it.
Like, it's no way I can do that.
But
Like,
that's where you
just it.
inspire them. You
Right.
believe in them. It's going to come out. And I think
Right.
that's where I come in.
That's where you come from. That's where you get it.
You have to be able, honestly.
Wait, are you saying I don't inspire people?
No, you do.
Oh, okay.
But you were just saying, I don't know how to do that. But
No,
it's
things that I
certain
want to
way.
do. Like, there's no way I can explain my creative
Right.
process, like, to somebody, because I can sit here and look at that 4-square panel right there and come up with something dope.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way my mind works. Like, I can see things inside of that.
But I think that's where your character strengths come into play. It doesn't mean that you don't have it in you. It just means that I could utilize it, I think, at a higher frequency than
Right.
you do at that time. And I think that that's why it's so important to understand your character strengths in a team. Because like you said, I know who to call, and although it might take me a little bit longer, but they're going to get it. And you know that they are going to get it, and that's what's key. And
But that's
even in
how
a
you
relationship.
build future leaders too.
That's right.
Because you have to let them fail, and it's okay. You're going to fail once. You're going to continue to fail. I'm going to continue to fail my whole life, right? But that's how we learn.
That's
and
right.
ultimately, if we want to be leaders, we have to teach other future leaders too, and bring them along the way.
Well, no, absolutely. I tell people all the time, you got to go through failure to get to success. There's no way you can get to success without going through failure.
Right. Yeah. It's a
And-
set mindset or a growth mindset.
All right. I would actually, have you ever took the character strength test?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your number one? You remember?
I can't remember. It's been a while.
Was you happy with, not happy with, did you agree with your results?
I don't think I did. No. Only because, again, we think we're a certain way, but in reality, when we step outside the box, we're like, oh my gosh, look at all of these things that I'm actually doing, and we don't even see it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I think it's hard sometimes to look within ourselves and realize the mistakes that we're making, because we don't want to accept that.
Yeah.
You know, but I think you have to.
Yeah,
that's true.
I can see regulation though on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regulation.
I think you might keep things in order. You know, like you kind of know how to navigate through that. You know, I mean, for me, it's all the way at the bottom with honesty. It really isn't. It's not a bad thing, but because love is my number one strength, clearly I don't know at times how to create that balance. It's like, I want to love everyone. Like, what is it that you need? You know, yes, you need me there. And, you know, even in our workshop with the kids, I was the one picking up like half the class, literally. Like it was 6 kids. I had to pick up this kid. And you know why? To make sure that they're there.
Right.
You know, like, and to do that. But then, you know, like my time with regulation, I don't really utilize that a lot. You know, in honesty, it's like, can you do it? Sure. Yeah. Why not? And then I'm like, oh my God, like, how do I do this? I got to do that. I got to come home and this. And I don't know how to balance it out.
Well, I used to do that a lot. I was always adding more and more and more to my plate. Sometimes people would be like, how? And I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing it, guys. I don't know. I promise I sleep like 3 hours a day and I'm just going. But I got to the point where I burnt out. I could no longer go anymore because I was doing too many things, you know?
Well, sleep is a big part of our well-being. You know, losing 90 minutes of sleep, it's equivalent to drinking a 6-pack of beer. And that's the reason why you wake up feeling groggy. You know, you're like, dang, I feel like, I don't know, like hungover or something, but did you drink? No. Well, that's the reason why people really don't prioritize their sleeping and their patterns. I mean, even at 8:30, I have an alarm goes off. All right, guys, you guys have to unwind, you know, utilize that half an hour to kind of disconnect, even if you're on social media, playing a video, whatever it is, you know, and just kind of allow your body to come into that I guess that zone of you're going to rest now, you're going to go to sleep. But sleeping is very important. Even when you're on the go and all of that. No, you should at least have 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, I don't even know when the last time I got 8 hours.
Yeah.
But
you'll notice your life will change. Honestly, everything you'll even start to think, you know, like just clearer, and your moods. And sometimes that's why people are moody, you know, like, and you really don't know why.
All the time.
No, but I'm dead serious.
But you know what? It goes back to what we were just talking about earlier. It's walking that fine line, right? Like with Kobe, and I go back to Kobe because I remember him doing his interview, and he said he had to make a decision. He said, I had to make a decision. Do I want friends or do I want to be the greatest? Right. So that goes with time as well. It's like, do you want to be great at what you're doing? It takes time to do that. Like, I cannot do my business in a 9 to 5. There's no way an entrepreneur could do that.
You're right. However, Kobe also did admit that he didn't have good social skills. And he also lacked in having like friends. And it took a lot of him to kind of build that. And once he realized what he was doing, he was able to also balance. And even in his documentary, he even said that he knew that he needed to take his naps. He paid attention to his body, and he knew that how important that was. And you saw it in the documentary when he went to the Olympics, how he struggled. He didn't know how to actually make friends. He was okay sitting by himself. And that's not healthy, because you're going to need someone at some point, you know, and you're not better than them. But he had to shift that. And that's where, God, I'm blanking out on the coach from the Bulls.
Oh, Phil Jackson?
Yeah, Phil Jackson. He saw all of that, and that's why he would give them books to read based on what he felt that they needed to work on. And Kobe needed to work a lot about that. You know, I mean, he's one of my favorite players, you know, and I do take away from certain things, but he even says it, like, I didn't have it all figured out, and I did struggle in that. You know, he pretty much always spent his time with his kids and his wife. And he didn't know how to really socialize and carry a conversation. And you would think that he could, but he didn't know how to pivot, you know, like, and work around that.
Well, I think everything is a balance, but that's just a hard balance, though. Because to be an entrepreneur, like what is that phrase they say? You give up a 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
That's
no,
right.
It's absolutely 100%
It's true.
true.
Like, it's all you. There's no one to call to cover for you. Like, it's your business. You
hey,
have
I'm sick.
to.
Can you come in? No, there's nobody to call.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, like, hey, like how you had it.
Look to right.
Like you said for your.
I actually want to take that back. There is actually a couple people in my life that are in the same business as I am. And if I was really sick and I was like, hey, you know what? I cannot get out of bed. Like, I have a fever. It's not happening. I know who to call. And they would be like, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll go show your clients this home. You know? Right. So I will say there's a couple people in my life that I'd be like, just pick up the phone and.
No, and that's great to have because you have a team. But you put that team together. And like that just didn't start on your first day of entrepreneurship. Sure. Like you had to build that team to get to that point. And I think, you know, again, as we get older and as we get more successful and we go through things, I think we do find a balance. Because actually right now, like I'm finding my balance of getting more sleep. Like I make it a point now because I'm up at 6 a.m. every day. And I don't go to bed till like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. But I make it a point to take a nap around 2 o'clock every day.
Yep.
Like I make it a point.
Once you
like
hit
I
that
shut
30,
everything down. I tell people if I ain't got no meetings or anything at 2 o'clock, I'm taking a nap, and it's an hour nap. It's a hard hour.
As you should. Mm-hmm.
It's a hard hour.
It is. It's a hard hour.
Yeah, you set a timer. I even told myself like, okay, I really need to like gather myself because I used to say that like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. No, man, that's like the worst job. Like honestly, you know, it's like, my God, you never, you never clock out. Yeah. You honestly never clock out. The kids always need something. Your husband always needs something. Something always needs to be done. And there was one day that I was cleaning the restroom and I started laughing at myself and I was like, this isn't the only thing I do, you know. You know what I mean? But it was hilarious because I realized like, you know, sometimes people like say like, oh, you know, no, man, it's honestly the hardest thing because I really have to manage all of these little lives. You know, like, what are you going to eat, Mom? What's there to eat? Oh, my God, hold on 1 second. You know, and still trying to gather that moment. At least when you go out to work, I remember I was like, peace out. Like, woo, this is my time. You know, this is what I'm going to do. Like, what happened to you this weekend? Oh, shit. Like, you really going through that? And then you could disconnect from that and come home and then, like, clock in.
Hats off to moms that stay home and take care of the kids. And I mean, I don't know how that happens.
I don't know either. It's been happening for the last 3 years.
Well, I did it. I did it with my kids for the first, I want to say, 10 years of my son's life and 5 years of my daughter, because they're 5 years apart. Where Nina was, she had a corporate job, but since I was in entertainment, my work was always at night, so I stayed home during the day and watched them. So I pretty much raised them when they was infants and toddlers.
Yeah. No. Well, when I used to work in the medical field. We used to do hair transplants. So we were in surgery at 4 a.m. And I used to just tell my coworkers like, man, I can't wait till like I stay at home. Like I hate being here. And the clients that we had were very high profile, very, very wealthy people. And I would tell myself like, well, I would kill to just live the life that they do. Like, sure, I can come in tomorrow. No problem. I need 2 weeks. No problem. And I used to tell myself like, man, I would kill just to be at home. And then when I finally had it, I was like, I want to go back. Take me back. But now I am so thankful. I do not complain at all. You know, even like last night we were out a little bit late and everyone asked like, oh, do you got to be at school or work? Or I was like, nah. I mean, we record at 10, but you know, I think I'm going to be all right.
It's like, I'll be all right.
I'll be all right. You know what I mean? I'll pivot. I'll figure it out. But
That's
it's such a blessing, and just to be a part of my kid's life, and not only that, but doing what I love, giving back to the community and working with kids. Yeah, you know, because we do a lot of that workshops at the high schools and do. No,
you do, and I got to see you firsthand at the graduation last week or a few days ago. Yeah, and I could see it in the kids' eyes, you know, how much of a difference that you made their lives.
Yeah, I actually ran into one of the kids that I used to be a team mom for in Los Angeles for a travel baseball team. So when we were in City Terrace, a lot of the parents were either undocumented, didn't speak the language, didn't drive. So they just stayed within that area, you know. And these kids, it's funny because I literally recruited them at Target. I was like, dang, this kid looks like athletic. Like, have you ever played baseball? And he was a phenomenal player. And we used to call him the Target kids, because I recruited them there. And I ran into them. Their dad actually is the person that does the logos on the grass for the Dodgers.
Okay.
So he's been working with them for a long time, and I ran into her and I was like, oh my God, how are you? And the son is grown now. And I mean, I haven't been with these kids for maybe 5 years, but it was so rewarding because I used to help her out and, like just to see that. But it was really great to kind of be able to do that and these kids to recognize. And she goes, I thought it was you. And, I was kind of loud and she goes, yeah, I recognize your voice. Cause even in the recordings from last night, the game, you hear me in every video super loud. I was like, come on, Money Mook, come on. And I told my husband, can you mute me out? But all the parents would always say that, like, you're always in all of our videos. I mean, I rooted for every single one of those kids, even though their parents couldn't make it, but it made a difference. And
Absolutely.
they would always say like, Team Mom, we always hear you. And I was like, yeah, so if I tell you to run, you run. If I tell you don't go, don't. But it's the best feeling, to just kind of be
dope.
there.
Even the other night, I forget her name that you was teaching with.
Viviana.
Viviana, yeah. She was saying, because I didn't know this, that you would go pick up the kids to even make it to the workshops.
Yeah.
Because their parents couldn't get them there. And so you would go get them. Like, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's when there's a will, there's a way.
But again, she's walking it. She's not just saying it.
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly, even for the graduation, one of the mom was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I have to work overtime and my husband commutes. And, he's so, I said, don't worry about it. I got you. She goes, but I said, don't worry about it. And I kind of walked in like with balloons in one hand and I had food in the other. And I was like, hi guys. Hi. Hey, great. Okay, everyone. Okay, guys, sit down. But I don't know how I do it, but I think I do it for them because I want them to at least have that as their takeaway when they grow up to remember that. I remember that, Vicky calls me Latin mom. I remember calling that Latin mom, like how she used to do that. And even when we were in Los Angeles, we used to go out into like Knott's Berry Farm or Sky Zone. I had like 14 kids in our car.
Wow.
I was like, make it work, sit down, and their face would light up because they've never been out of East LA. Never been out. I was like, what do you mean? Never been to Hollywood, never. And I would be like, come on, let's go. And then they were just like in all awe. And for me, I was like, how is it that you've never been out of this small space? Like, I can only imagine what it's like because we used to travel all over the place. I mean, I drive everywhere. And just to imagine growing up just at home and your parents living in fear because they're undocumented, like that must be, challenging and hard. So if I can just give that to them, I tell them sky's the limit, man. Like you can really travel all over the world if you really set your mind to it.
But, you say how you do it. I think, when you have a passion for something, it's easy.
Right.
Like even in our careers, like, you have a passion for what you do. You make it seem easy, but we all know it's not easy. But you do. You make it seem easy.
Yeah.
And we keep going and we just do it because we love it.
Yeah, Arvin had suggested, you should go into real estate. You're really good. And I said, nah. I said, that's the wild, wild west. I said, no, I think I'm good.
I think a lot of people right now, and we talk about, and this is actually something I've talked about before, but there's so many people that want to get into this business now and that even got into the business a couple years ago when the market was really hot. They see the nice clothes and the fancy dinners and the vacations and, the flash. And they think, oh, this is easy. I'm gonna go into this business. I'm gonna make a lot of money.
Right.
But they don't really see what happens behind the scenes,
exactly.
right? And all of the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And it's not all glamour, guys. All the events that we get to go to, the parties. I remember my friend, she's like, Jackie, just hire me. And she's like, I just want to go to the parties with you. And I'm like, honey, I promise it's not what it really seems like on social media.
But that's with anything. I mean, I used to have that with my interns when I was working on my TV show. I remember one kid was like, hey, when we going on set? Because we was in the office. And I was like, do you realize being on set is like 10% of the work? We have research. we have development, we have all this business stuff we got to take care of. Like being on set, like, yeah, it's fun when you see some people on set shooting, whatever. But that's like 10% of the work.
Right.
Like you don't see all the other stuff. And they were so bored in that office, like doing all this research and development. They was like, oh my God. So, I mean, yeah. And even with real estate, like agents, like I said, I'm not an agent, fully licensed agent yet, but I go in and I cut the grass. I paint the walls. Because, you know, a good agent, I think, you know, if a house is empty, they would prep it really nice, right? Mm-hmm. And I was always taught that, like, you know, it only costs $35, $40 for a gallon of paint. Go paint the wall, do the floorboards, you know, cut the grass. Like takes, like I just sold, not sold, but I just cut my ex-wife's mother's grass because she's selling her house 2 weeks ago. Took my lawnmower over there and just cut her grass. I mean, it takes like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
Just putting in that little effort, like it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know.
How long have you been an agent for now?
So I was actually counting the years actually the other day because I was like, when does my license expire again? Because I have to renew it. We have to renew it every 4 years, right? So I'm actually going on year number 6. And mind you, the first 3 years I was doing it only part-time. And so I feel like until I really started doing it full-time, that's when my business finally took off. You know, I feel like at the beginning I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Right. It's easy to go to a job, clock in, clock out. You know exactly how much you're getting at the end of the week or every 2 weeks. And getting into real estate was it was hard at first, obviously, because now you're learning something that you've never done before. But the uncertainty of it. So, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so I have a client. We have to get them an escrow, and it might take 30 to 45 days if it closes, right? And I'm not only going to get paid until after it closes. Right. And sometimes we're going to fall out of escrow, and guess what? Those 45 days came and went, and I still haven't gotten paid.
And you got to start all over from day one.
Start all over. And, you know, it was, I was struggling to let go of the other job just because I'm like, this is for sure money, right? And until one day I said, this is it. I'm either gonna go all in or I'm not. And I wanted it badly enough, and I was hungry enough to where this is what I'm doing. So,
but I think a lot of people, that's where a lot of people get, again, it's the fear of the unknown.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to jump in. Like they want to do like all these businesses, right? But being an entrepreneur, you don't get paid right up front, especially in real estate. Like they said, you got to wait till escrow close.
Right.
And you can go through escrow 3-4 times. Like my ex-wife right now, she's in her 4th escrow because people keep falling out. And it's like, she wants to sell this house so bad. And it's like, oh my God. All right. But you don't get paid until you close.
Yeah.
And that's like with any other business. Like even with TV, like I don't get paid unless I sell a show.
Yeah.
So think about all the development meetings I got to go to and all this and all the red tape. Like you don't get paid. Like I could spend a whole year writing a show and I won't get paid unless it's sold.
Right.
It could take years to do that.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
So anyway, so we're almost out of time, but I want to know from Jackie, what would you like to see this community? Like, what are the changes that you would like to see?
I think going back to what we said, I want to see people do the work. So let's stop talking so much and go out there and actually do what we're saying we're going to do, right? If we want to bring unity to the community and within the organizations, then obviously it starts with us. What are we actually doing about it? I think getting out of our own egos and putting all of that aside and realizing that this is for a bigger cause and this is bigger than you and me and everyone else. And if we can all come together on this one thing and agree that this is why we're doing it, then we'll be fine. But now if you have a different motive and you have a different motive and I have a different motive, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I was in a committee meeting the other day, right? And I don't know who you know, the guy named Van. I forget his last name. He works with the youth of the Voices of the Youth. I know. Okay, so he came into the meeting, and I've known him for a couple of years. I did some work with him a few years ago, but I didn't know he was going to be at this meeting. Anyway, so he was introducing himself to the whole committee, and he was telling people, like people was like, they were just like you right now, like, oh, I've heard of that, but wasn't really sure, right? He was like, yeah, because we do so much work. He said, you're going to always hear about us, but you're never going to see us. And I love the way he put it. He's like, I don't do this for the publicity, for the camera or the press. He was like, he's in the mountains every day, like getting youth from out of the mountains into homes and into, you know, resource centers, He said him and his wife, they're out there every day in these deserts and the mountains getting these youth. And he said it's not for the camera, it's just what he loves to do, is to help our youth. And his organization is huge. When I tell you his organization is huge, they feed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people every month.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you hear about it, but like you said, you never see it.
And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people want to be seen. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Look at what I just did. Look at who I'm helping. You don't need to do any of that, you know?
Right.
And I feel like you don't need the spotlight in order to shine. Once you start doing all of these things and you're helping people not to glorify yourself, but you're glorifying the man upstairs,
Right.
it's all going to come natural. You don't need to be doing this for any kind of fame or publicity or to grow your business. Just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that. I love what he's doing. I love what you're doing. But I do think that, you know, a lot of us need to put our egos to the side, because if we're truly doing this for, like you said, for the good, then we got to put our egos aside. It doesn't matter whose name is on it. I think a lot of people, they start companies and they want their name on everything just to kind of build a company, but that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I love when I used to work for the hair transplant doctor, is that the type of people I would come across, and they were so humbled, and, you know, just very ordinary and willing to talk. And then we would have the, you know, people that were up and coming, and they were just so egotistic. And we used to laugh and be like, man, you haven't even made it, you know?
Right.
But that really stuck with me. Yes. Can see it. Right. And that's why I look at people be like, man, if you having to clock in and have to work and, you know, money's not flowing in, you're just like me. You know what I mean? It's just a pedestal that you want to put yourself on, and it says a lot about you. However, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves, regardless of your status, you know, like it's going to say a lot about you. I mean, there was one very high profile, you know, patient that actually wanted to have lunch with us. And he's like, I just really want to know what you guys, I was like, you know, we were all tripping out because we were like, what do you mean you want to sit? And he goes, yeah, like, you know, I want to know what you guys do and who you are and what you're about. And I want to sit here. And we asked the doctor, and the doctor goes, why does he want us? I don't know. I'm just asking you, can he sit with us? You know what I mean? And he goes, if he wants to. And that stuck with me so much, because I thought to myself, if this person really wants to sit with me, it's for a reason.
Right.
And that's why I love saying hello to people and just starting random conversations, because you really never know what knowledge, what experiences you've been through that at some point I might go through. I'd be like, I remember having that conversation with that. Yeah. So this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to take away. This is what I'm going to incorporate for myself and be able to grow. And if we were to really understand that, we would we would just kind of break barriers and do so much more. It's a very small community that we can really work together if we can just kind of put our egos aside and just be like, man, I might be at this place right now, but that's not guaranteed.
No, 100%. I think a lot of the times people think, oh, I'm here. Look at me. Oh, my gosh. And this and that. But, hey, tomorrow you could be right at the bottom all over again. So don't forget 100%. To be humble. You know, you're not better than anybody. Just, you know, do you treat everybody with respect, be kind, and just be a good human being.
Right.
You know?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
A decent human being. I tell people that all the time. Just be a decent human being.
It's not that hard.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's really not.
Yeah. Even in the store, sometimes I'll talk to, you know, random people or unhoused. And yesterday, actually, at the game, there was a veteran. He just turned 100 years old, and everyone was like, hey, how are you doing? And I like pushed my kids. I was like, I got to shake his hand. That's a real hero right there. You know, he was so excited. And, you know, as I was walking away, one of the guys goes, he was like an old essay. He goes, or I forgot what he said. He's like, yeah, Simon, man, that, you know, and I was like, yeah, honestly, that's a real OG. You know what I mean? Like, he paved the way for us to be here. You know, he really is a brave, you know, soldier. And that's why I love whenever you do meet a veteran, always say thank you for your service.
For sure.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we have to be approachable too. I feel like a lot of the times our facial expressions,
Oh,
the
yeah.
way
Oh,
we
yeah.
move. I mean, literally, we'll be like, oh no, I don't want to talk to her because she looks mean.
Yeah.
You know, it's little things that sometimes we're having a bad day, and I mean, we all have it, right? We all have bad days, and we're just like, and everything's pissing you off, and now you're projecting that wherever you go, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, take a minute, be in your car, be like, all right, got to get it together, you know, say a little prayer, be like, God, help me right now, and then keep it pushing. But when you're not approachable, people automatically assume that you're stuck up, that you're snobby, that you think you're better, that, you're just mean, or whatever the case may be. And so, our facial expressions and our body movement,
that's real big. And that's why, like, when I know I'm not in a good mood, like, especially, like, I know at some point I'm gonna get over it, right? Whether it's 5 minutes, an hour. If my energy is so low for more than 4 hours, I go home and I shut the day down because I don't want to project that on anyone else.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to be good to you. So if I'm not good to you, I'm not good to myself, I'm not good to nobody. I'll shut my whole day down if it's more than 4 hours. If I can't get over it for whatever reason.
Yeah. I was taught that at early age. Leave your little pile of, you know what, at the door and then pick it up on your way out.
Right.
Honestly, I was taught that by a manager because I used to just, if I was having a crap, everybody's going to suffer, you know? But she had to pull me to the side and be like, you're not going to get anywhere in life if you continue with that behavior. Right. You know, and I really had to put that in check. And I mean, I don't think you've ever really seen me in a bad mood since we've kind of been working, huh?
No, actually,
no, you haven't, huh? Because I'm pretty.
I'm
dead
good.
serious.
You know how to control.
I'm
your
really
emotions.
good.
And
Yeah, I
a
do.
lot of people do not know how to do that.
Yeah.
No, I will say that's something I had to learn the hard way, because I used to pop off quick. Like, look at me crazy, and I'm like, what? Like,
right.
Something's gonna happen, right? I used to have that mentality when I was younger, and that didn't get me anywhere, right? And my mom used to say, "A las malas nunca vas a lograr nada." And I didn't understand that. I'm like, because I thought the more I pushed, the more I was going to get something back. And it's quite the opposite. Yeah. And so controlling your emotions will get you so far.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, being able to regulate that.
100%.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So let's get into our question goals.
Yay! So today it says, this is my daily mantra, sometimes minute by minute mantra, which is love yourself. Learn to love yourself and stay in this moment. This moment right here is where your power is. So, and I did say you're a power hitter, so hey, girl. So love yourself, and clearly you see that in you. So I personally was excited, although I thought it was other Jackie. I did. Yeah, actually, Angela recommended me to follow you a while back, and I'm thankful for that, and I see what you do, and, it does motivate other women to keep pushing. So that's dope. And I love that you brought your daughter in here too. I'm big on family.
No, 100%. And Destiny, right? You should definitely be proud of your mom, because she's a definite pillar in this community, and she does the action. She does not all talk. And that's why I admire you and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that, what words of wisdom do you have for our community?
Drop that knowledge.
Honestly, guys, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but
no, it's not.
Because
it's real.
I'm on this new journey, and I think I've always been religious. I was born and raised Catholic. I'll die a Catholic, but I didn't know God until a couple months ago, and so I feel like some people start to learn about God and get to know Him and have a relationship with Him, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm taking baby steps, and I feel like I'm like trying to sprint there, because I feel like I'm a different person now with Him in my life, right? Mm-hmm. So I think my advice is lead with God. That's it.
Lead or leave it?
Lead.
Lead with God. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to. I think everything changed in my life when I took the back seat, and let Him have the wheel.
Yeah,
100%.
I actually heard that from another gal that she was tripping. She goes, "You know what? God take the wheel."
No, you know what? It's funny is because I think I'm in the same boat with you, right? Like I grew up Catholic. I'm always like I tell everybody, I'm more spiritual, but God is my foundation. 100%. Never forget that. But it wasn't until a few months ago when Adriana gave me my first book, which is the Maxwell Leadership Bible. And I've been reading that. Like I try to read it 15 minutes every night, right? And I know I miss some nights, but I really do try my best to read it. And that's because I've never read the Bible because I didn't understand it. And I never talked about it because the Bible to me is like a law book. Like who really understands it? Like even with Bible, like I see people all the time, like saying scriptures and quoting scriptures, and they run with like this little piece of a scripture, right? But they don't read the whole thing. So I think a lot of people, and that's why I said, you know what? I'm going to start reading the Bible because I need to understand this because I don't agree with a lot of people when they take that bit of scripture. And it's like, that's not really what it's saying. If you read the whole thing, it's saying something totally different. But people, and I think that's just from, I don't want to say the word ignorance, but lack of knowledge. Let's be nice to people right now. Lack of knowledge.
Well, you don't have to be perfect to come to God. In fact, that's when he wants you.
I think, absolutely. I think God, or actually I finally surrendered my life to God when I was in the worst place of my life. I was extremely broken. And the only one that was able to pull me out was him.
Amen.
And that's what I mean. Like a few years ago when I started my mindset training is actually when I did the same thing. I said, you know what? I can't handle this. I'm leaving this with you. Whatever you want, whatever. I'm just walking your path right at this point. Yeah. Whatever you give me is I'm okay with. Right. And I started that a few years ago, so I feel you on that one.
Well, that's facts.
It's facts.
I know, and I still haven't told you my football team.
We don't want to hear it because it's not the Cowboys.
Yeah, like why?
In fact, you guys really don't want to hear it.
Is it the Raiders because we hate them?
No. I actually grew up a Patriots fan. I'm a Tom Brady,
All right, we don't hate them that much.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're not the Niners either, so I mean,
I don't like cheaters though.
Ooh.
You know what? Don't even
really
start.
Don't. I mean, you know
See
what?
what I'm saying?
No, just like Phil Jackson said with the San Antonio Spurs that one year, if you have an asterisk next to your title, it doesn't count.
But see, you wanna put it with Gronk. You wanna put it with Hernandez. We were unstoppable. There's just no way. So come on now.
Those are 3 championships that are questionable.
Yeah. Okay. You can say what you want to say, but
don't hate. It's true. Like
we could have done something major had Romo not gotten injured. We could have done something major.
Yeah. So that's funny.
Where Brady at now?
It's all right. He retired. He hanging out with Edelman the other day at the beach. I could, I'm here for that.
I like Brady. I give him his props. Like he's great. I do believe though they did a little cheating, but
man. What happened when they played the Falcons? Woo, we were down, man. But we're going to let it go. I just had to throw that out there.
Still Cowboys.
Yeah.
Still Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
That's right.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. That's one team that I just can't root for.
Why?
Because
we're America's team. That's why.
No, you know what? I think it's because I've come across certain fans that I just,
Am I one of the fans right now?
No, not at all.
Am I one of the fans?
Not at all.
Wait. Because of the fans? Are you serious?
I don't know what it is. I just can't. I can't vibe with it.
I just think when people hate, there's so many people that hate on the Cowboys, but that's a good thing to me. It's like how they say about haters.
Yeah, I'm not big on football.
That means we're doing something
I can't say that when it comes to baseball, there's just no way in hell if you're Astro fans, don't come near me, don't talk to me. That's just, I told my kids, if you ever bring a Astro, it's not going to work out. They're cheaters.
Soon I'm going to have a good friend of mine who is one of the top writers in Hollywood on this show. And he's from Houston. So
shit.
Huge.
Maybe we should reschedule. No, just like,
I'm going to sit way over there in the corner.
I just can't vibe with him.
He's a comedy writer, so he's going to have fun with you at this point.
No, dude. I was literally in the OR room. We were cutting, we are dissecting, and my husband was calling me, are we going to go to the World Series? I literally was going to pay $800 a ticket, $1,600 to go see the World Series that year, and I was hot. I was so glad that I didn't because of what they did.
They did cheat.
Hell yeah, they did.
But see, how can you...
No, I don't even want to hear it.
Condemn that, but you won't condemn the Patriots.
No, the Patriots didn't do nothing.
But that was different.
That's a different sport, different ball. So hell nah. You know what I'm saying? They were hurting me almost $1,600 in the pocket.
Anyways, we out of here. Thank you again, Jackie. We truly
so
appreciate
much.
you. Thank you for what you do in this community.
Yes.
Keep it up, and I look forward to working with you at some point and like helping build this community because you and everybody else is doing an incredible job.
And I always tell this to real estate agents: if you do come across a commercial person, we need a skating ring here for the kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've been saying. Yeah. I keep telling everyone. Can you imagine if you got a skating? Like, girl, you gonna go skating? Okay.
She has been politicking for that.
Honestly, every real estate agent, like, we really need this for the kids. Although, yeah, the movies, there's only so much that kids can do, but you know, a skating ring would be so dope. Yeah. Well, although we did have one
out there too.
Yeah, even for adults to kind of get out there.
We had
and do that,
what's her name? Adriana on the show like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I told her
the
too.
mayor pro temp.
Alacon. So I told her too. I was like, hey, just
She
throwing it
preaching
out
everybody.
there. Girl, I'm just speaking into existence. Speaking into existence. It's gonna happen. It's gonna
It'll
happen. Yeah, we need things for, you know, I mean, you're young, you're what, a teenager, right? No, a young adult, but even then, you know, to do, what is it for you to do? You know, it's like, where are we going to go? The movies, there's only so much you can do. Go eat, yeah, it's okay. But, I mean, you're going to go to the trampoline place? I doubt it.
Yeah. We're going to get you one.
So, yes, speaking into existence, putting it out there, we need to skate. We need things, you know. Get it popping out here.
We're going to make it happen.
So, all right now.
All right, we out of here, y'all.
All right, be well.
Be well.